Hey guys, JK here. Sorry, this is a little bit late, but I wanted to do a banner review on the Onion Knight banner. I've been super busy at work and pretty stressed out, honestly, sleep deprived, my kid's been sick, but I really just couldn't skip this banner because it's been talked about and, hyped for a while. Now, there's been a lot of anti-hype now coming into this banner because people are realizing that once you have an elite chainer, it's not like you need to keep collecting more and more of them per se. I mean, there's situational uses for one being better than the other, but for the most part, if you have a good chainer, you don't need a ton of them. So that's why the hype has come down a little bit for Onion Knight, but as you'll see, he's still a very good unit, one of the best. So let's kind of go into the high level details first. So of course, the main prize is the base 5-star Onion Knight. Notable features are that he has like crazy chaining moves, lots of hits, and he also has innate dual wield, so that's always nice to save yourself a materia slot or whatever, and you can pack more attack stats and everything onto him. His Trustmaster reward is a very, very good sword. It's definitely best for him. Not only does it have very high attack, has Blade Blitz in case you need some AoE and you don't want to use Odin, but it also gives you Onion Cutter, which is his best chaining move. I think it's 16 hits or something like that each time. But if you dual wield, it's going to be 32 hits. So if you chain with another Onion Knight, that's like a 63 chain or something crazy like that. So definitely something you want to use if you do get Onion Knight. He has a lot of elemental options, but from what I've seen, most people just pretty much stick to Onion Cutter for the most part. But he does have a lot of different options, giving him some utility as well. The base 4-star, first base 4-star is Desh. He's considered a swordsman in this banner, and he has a very good Trustmaster reward as well. Attack plus 45 is the highest raw attack stat for an accessory that we have. We've had 30s, we've had percentage-based ones, but yeah, this is a very good raw stat. Very good for especially like double hand, which is based on raw stats more than percentages. And then also, there are cases when people are kind of capping out with the percentage boosts and you want to have raw stats instead. So this is a very good accessory. Not like a must-have, I would say, but very, very good. And he's essentially a breaker. Aria is another base 4-star, goes to 6-star healer. Honestly, a lot of the healers kind of like, mesh together. They're not like standouts among them, except for maybe Tillith. But, if you don't have a very good healer yet, this is going to be a good option for you. The Trustmaster reward is very nice. 15% MP is always desired on a mage, but especially for a healer who you want to like always have topped off so they can keep healing every single round. There's basically rarely going to be turns that healers can take off because they're always constantly healing. Defensive stats and Spirit 45 is always nice. Obviously that's defensive, and it also impacts the healing amount, and it also gives you water resistance, and she has a lot of the basics that you would want, such as Kiraja. She does have an AoE full life, which is really great, and then she also has a way to regenerate MP. So I would say that she's definitely a little bit better than some of the other healers in the game that we have. Possibly second best, I'm not really sure. And then finally we have the Booby prize, which is a base 3-star that goes to 5-star Sara. This is also a healer, so we have 2 healers on this banner, but other than the Trustmaster reward, which is really nice, 15 defense, mag 20, and 55 spirit, and some wind resistance as well. It's a nice TMR. Other than this, I don't really know why you would want to use her. Even the free Fina is a 6-star unit, has some great features. 5-star units just simply can't really survive in tough fights in the meta right now, so again, they're pretty much just for the TMRs. Cheer, just like Fina has. Couple of other options here. She has a nice like Luca type of ability that can Esunaga essentially, or maybe that's not fair to say that it's Lucas. I mean, Lucas has a cure or heal attached to it too. But yeah, I mean, you're not really going to use her. You're just getting her for the TMR. So let's dive into the details. Okay, so the first unit again is Sara. Again, her TMR is pretty much the only thing that you're interested in. Her stats are pretty subpar. Nothing special there that's going to help her survive. Her limit burst is actually pretty good situationally. It would be a nice mag boost and also a really strong wind resistance AoE, but there's not too many situations where you're really gonna take this in. Plus, you do have other characters that have, you know, similar types of wind resistance that have more utility. Her magic spells are actually pretty terrible. Her best cure is a Cura, which is called Care here. That's definitely a typo or mistranslation. Then she has a couple of magic spells that you're not really going to use. Again, Bar Aurora, but there's really no situation I can think of that you would want to take her over somebody else. And then her abilities are pretty lackluster. Prey is just really, really outdated at this point. Never going to really come into play. All this stuff is like kind of old stuff, like auto shell. These kinds of things are useless because it's only 20%. You're pretty much overriding that. I mean, it's better than nothing if you don't have a buff up, but it's not anything worth touting. Again, she does have this Isunaga type of ability, which is probably the nicest thing about her. Plus a cheer, you know, oldie buddy goodie. But for the most part, all of these things are kind of outclassed at this point. Evacuation order, we can evade for 2 turns. Okay, that's great, but yeah, I mean, you want your healer to be healing. You don't want them to be doing all this other stuff that's kind of like situational for the most part. So I can see situations where this would become in handy. You know, like you put it on your tank or something. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, there's not even a Kiraja in here, so you're not going to be bringing this girl to battle. That's enough said about her. The next one is Aria, which they said Aria here. This is actually a good healer. So let's go into her. Her stats, first of all. Her spirit is very high, her defense is low, and her HP is not that great. So she is a little bit squishy, but not more so than like Tillith. I mean, Tillith is probably a lot squishier. Her limit burst is a nice HP recovery. Very... I mean, it's full all the way, so why would you not like that? Plus, it gives you water resistance here. As somebody who does have Titus, I forgot his name for a second there. You know, if I was ever going up against a water boss, I would bring him, and I wouldn't really need this. But I mean, you're never gonna complain about an AOE 100% heal for free. Although to be fair, a lot of Tilliths, including my own, have it's set up so that her MP is pretty much always infinite, you know, recovering so quickly that it feels like it's infinite. So, and you know, she has an AoE full heal anyway, but it is nice to have for a lot of people out there. So she does have Kiraja, this one right here, which is, you know, one of the basics that you want. Also protect Shelga, so you know you have a very Y'shtola-ish kind of mage, but she also has other nice quirks. Like she has the water resistance here, she has the Isunaga, she also has Miracle of Regeneration. This is like what sets her apart, I think. I mean, AoE revive with 100% is basically like a Tillith kind of thing. So, you know, for people who don't have Tillith, she's able to do a lot of the same stuff. She can also do like a MP recovery, a gradual one, not as strong as Tillith's, but you know, it's a gradual, nice ability to have. And then she has that limit burst that has a full AoE heal, just like Tillith has, but Tillith is on command. But you know, this character does have some advantages as well. You know, the ability to dual cast, like if you need to get up a Shelga buff or something like that, on top of Kiraja. So this is a very good healer to have. And you know, in some situations could actually be better than Tillith. So if you're still lacking a very good healer, Aria is the way to go, I would say. Then we have Desh, the other base 4-star, goes to 6 stars. Nice stats here, 3572 is a good amount of HP for an attacker. The attack is kind of low, but the stats are well-rounded, but the attack is not what you're not really going for high damage with this character anyway. Okay, so the limit burst is a 3-hit thunder attack that ignores defense, 100% paralyzed, which can be situationally useful, but the multiplier is not that high. Again, you're not really going for damage, raw damage with this guy. He does have a couple of spells, but I don't really see any situation where you're really going to be using that. Yeah, he's not meant to be a caster. He can give your party Paralyze and Petrify resist, which is really nice to have. Although, you know, if you come up against a tough boss fight, you can just throw on some jewel rings or ribbons or whatever that you have. This chivalry thing, I'm not really crazy about this. Whenever a non-tank hops in front of other people, it's just kind of like asking for. It's not a good situation. You're getting like, you know, non-tank units killed, so it's not something I'm thrilled about. But at least it's only 5%. And trust is something that I really like because obviously, while you might not be using his own limit burst that much, you can, you know, give it to Riku or somebody with a really crucial limit burst. So that's going to be a nice little option. Full break, you know, nice to have. Kind of not. It's not obsolete, but it's not like the awesome end-all ability that it used to be. Plus, a lot of bosses resist certain breaks. You have a chance to debuff the enemy's defense as a counter, which is nice. Auto refresh is nice. He does have this attack and defense debuff. It's AoE, so this is really nice. It's kind of like with Warrior of Light, you have the attack and magic debuff, and then you have the defense and spirit debuff. But a lot of times you want to have the attack and defense debuffed instead in one go. Maybe that boss doesn't use magic. Maybe you're not using magic against it, so you don't care about the spirit debuff. So this is a really nice option to have. Some nice passives here. And then he does have the magic spirit, defense mag, and attack spirit. So it's like any combination that you may need, he does have it, which is you know, makes him a better debuffer than Warrior of Light. The only problem with that is that Warrior of Light does have like the tanking ability, and he's more slot efficient. So even if he's not as good of a debuffer as Desh, he's able to do more things overall. Desh is pretty much a committed debuffer, although he does seem very, very, very proficient at it. And then he has this is a Dispel stat buff removal. He's also able to add thunder to his attacks and, you know, all this stuff, but I don't really care about this because, again, he's not there to do a lot of damage. And then here's his damaging ability, I guess. It's a nice multiplier, actually. It's a pretty nice multiplier. It's not as good as like Divine Ruination, which is a 4 essentially here, but a 3x multiplier is pretty good. 50% thunder debuff. If you pair this up with another thunder attacker, maybe, you know, could be a nice, in essence, another debuff, but it's an Imperil instead. But, you know, as you can see, he doesn't really have a whole lot of attack. His stats weren't that great, and he doesn't even have, like, attack passives. So he's never going to be, like, a good damage dealer. So, yeah, that's Desh in a nutshell, I guess. And, of course, we have the jackpot Onion Knight. They call him Onion Swordsman here, but it's actually Onion Knight. And fun fact, I guess, in Final Fantasy III, the original thing, Onion Knight was like a character that was very generic and very, very terrible stat-wise until you got him to like a certain level, like a seriously high level. So I think in the game it was like level 93 or something insane like that, where after that point he just becomes a god. But up until that point, he's actually pretty terrible. So, and I remember them kind of incorporating that a little bit into the character, which is fun. His HP is good. His attack is very high, 158. This is like on par with Noctis, I believe. Very good attack stats, and he's able to use, look at all this stuff. I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. And that, of course, goes back to the original game where like he's a generic character that can just kind of do like jack of all trades type of thing. Limit Burst, he has a nice AoE physical attack, 16 hits. And it also gives a nice buff here, 50% attack, and a debuff to the enemy. And then if you level that all the way up, it's actually a very nice multiplier, and, you know, can be quite a strong buff and debuff. Very nice Limit Burst. If you get him, you'd want to definitely level that up. So he has some like innate status resistances, which is nice. Again, dual wield. I always love that when it's on a character because you get to save a materia. And then he has a whole bunch of elemental specific attacks, such as the wind one here. He's able to do a decent multiplier AoE with 12 hits, but he also buffs up your own party's resistance to that element. So it's like a nice utility to do some damage and to also give your party resistance. And he has the same thing for wind, water, fire. I thought he had an earth one. Am I missing it somewhere? Okay, down here, earth. So he has, a lot of elements covered there. He's also able to get a little limit. I don't know why it's LS, but I think it should be like, limit crystals or whatever. One per turn, which is like on par with some of the older TMRs like Cloud of Darknesses. He has a nice AoE 12 hit attack. I mean, the name of the game with this guy is just a ton of hits. Even if the multiplier isn't like off the charts. Auto refresh is nice. He gets a boost when he equips with the sword, and you definitely want a sword on him. Again, you want his own TMR on him so that you can unlock Onion Cutter. He gets extra damage against, Dead Space. I'm guessing that's like undead. Oh yeah, undead killer. Duh. So yeah, he gets extra bonus to undeads. He has an extra 30% attack here, so all in all, he gets an 80% buff, which is, top class. And then he has a nice element resistance buff here that you can, well, this is passive, and it's fire, water, wind, earth. So it's not all the elements, but it's all the ones that he himself can cast. And then if you throw the element specific, like earth or whatever, you get an additional resist to that. And then he has onion slice, which is like minus the onion cutter ability. This is his best chaining ability overall. Minus, he doesn't have element attached to it, but this is kind of like his standard. So it's 12 hits, 4x multiplier. But again, what you want to be using is his onion cutter skill, which is from his TMR. And that's a nice higher multiplier, 5.2 multiplier with 16 hits instead of 12. But what I'm hearing is that he can only really chain with himself. So in that way, it's a little limiting. So you need to have like Onion Knight friends, but that's a lot of hits. And it's also a little bit hard to chain, I think. So you need to have like a macro or some kind of like maybe magnification trick going on. But he is the king of chaining if you're able to do it. I'm not sure where these things come from, but I think they're like from the event equipment. So, these are nice to have, I guess, as a side option, but for the most part, you just want this onion cutter. You want to be doing this most of the time. So, very, very, very good chainer. Has some utility with, the elemental resistances and so forth. Innate dual wield. Definitely an elite damage dealer, but, as far as do you need a hard pull for this guy and dump your Orlando, dump your Tidus's or whatever, the answer is definitely not. He's just kind of like another one added to the mix. But he is, up there with the other elites. Even in Japan right now, like, I think after enhancements, he's like, has a rating of 99. Actually, I don't know if he has enhancements yet, but I know he's up there, or he's getting his enhancements soon. So I apologize for not remembering that. But yeah, he's if I get him, I'd be very happy, but for the most part, I'm just going to pull on the banner just for some, bonus units for the MOG events. And, there's some nice TMRs here to be had. So that's why I'm pulling. But I know a lot of people are depleted from the Nier banner and all these Veritas banners. And I was too. So I did have to get a little bit of Lapis. Funny story is that I scratched the Google Play card and did it wrong. I was an idiot. I tried to use like a pile of staples stuck together because I had no coins, and it just did a terrible job. So I had to call Google support, and the guy was really friendly, got my code redeemed and everything. And he actually asked about this game because he knew what I was trying to spend it on. I told him, yeah, I play Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I make a YouTube channel about it. He said he would check it out and subscribe. So it was a kind of funny conversation, but yeah, Google was definitely a good service as usual and made it painless. But anyway, I am going to do an 11 pull on this banner, maybe a couple of ticket pulls if I have to, but for the most part, I don't really care if I get Onion Knight or not. I just want some bonus units. So pull if you need to, especially if you need like a healer or something, but the TMRs are nice, and Onion Knight is a nice bonus if you get him. If you don't have an elite chainer, you definitely want him, but if you do have an elite chainer, he's just a nice to have, not a must have. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck pulling, and I'll see you guys in my next video.